This chair shouldn't exist. A chair that turns into an ironing board. This is version 2 of a chair that already worked. The first version did exactly what it was supposed to do, but I knew I could do better. So I rebuilt the entire thing. And somehow, I still missed something.
Details make perfection, and perfection is not a detail. Leonardo da Vinci.
What started as a simple build slowly became an obsession over refinement. I like building things that solve small, everyday problems. And space is one of the biggest ones I keep noticing. Most furniture spends most of its life doing absolutely nothing. A chair stays a chair, an ironing board stays an ironing board, both taking up space. So the goal was simple: make one object that can do both jobs perfectly. I like breaking down the plywood sheet into the finer lengths first, then cutting them into smaller strips from there. It just keeps the parts more consistent and makes the whole build a lot easier to manage. If you would want to build one yourself, I've made some SketchUp files and plans available on my Ko-fi page in the description below. You can check that out if you want. I've been enjoying my new workbench setup way more than I expected. This is actually my first build after finishing the workbench. I banged out this project so fast in a weekend's time. I was just enjoying the whole setup. Everything just felt purposeful and right in place. A lot of woodworking is really just patience disguised as progress. Glue-ups especially. You spend hours preparing the pieces just to wait for the clamps to do the actual work over a couple of hours. So brad nails are actually a lifesaver when setting up these pieces. It prevents the wood from sliding around when you're clamping. These are the seat storage pieces I'm cutting right now. It's very important that I have the exact sizes of these to get the measurement of the back piece for here on the back legs. Remember when I said this was the version 2 of the chair? I actually filmed the entire first build too. I just never got around to editing it. And by the time I started working on this version, the old footage already felt dated. Especially after building this new workbench of mine. So I decided not to release that first version. And instead, share this version that better represents where I'm at right now as a builder. I've got an announcement to those that might have missed it. We have finally crossed 1,000 subscribers. Which honestly feels strange to say out loud. I've made myself a wooden YouTube play button to celebrate that achievement. If you've missed that video, I will link it below in the description as well. And if you are not subscribed, please feel free to subscribe to Show Woodworking DIY. We still have a long way to go together with this woodworking journey. Thank you and God bless. One of the biggest problems with the first version was getting all the legs perfectly aligned. Back then, I was basically screwing the plywood legs directly on the storage box, which made alignment errors very easy to introduce. And something like a chair, even a slight difference becomes noticeable immediately when you're sitting on it. So with version 2, I redesigned the legs completely. This time, I added built-in level references in the design itself, which made the whole assembly process far more consistent, as you can see. It all ended up giving a chair with a much cleaner, slicker look overall. I temporarily mounted the seat because I was so eager to see how the final chair would look. And this was the moment when I first noticed the slope. I could already tell the angle was off. But at the same time, I was really happy with the ironing board height. Lowering the chair at this point just to fix the slope didn't feel worth it yet. So I told myself I'd rather deal with it later. Little did I know I was going to hate this fix that I would come up with, eventually ending up fixing the fix itself. Also, quick question for you guys and gals. I've noticed my drill press has started getting some rust on the column and some other metal parts, which is strange because I've never really exposed it to water and rain. I'm just not sure if maybe it's humidity or something I'm missing. I'm not sure why it came about, but it just started showing up. If you've dealt with this before, what's the best way to clean it up and prevent it from coming back? I've even seen some people repaint their tools completely, partially for aesthetics, but also part of it is to get rid of free advertising for brands that aren't even sponsoring them. And just to be clear, no one is sponsoring this channel. We're just 1,000 subscribers, as you saw. It's just me sponsoring myself at this point. The pivot mechanism was probably the part I struggled with the most on that first chair of mine. Back then, I was still trying to figure out as I went. Trial and error was actually good for me on that chair, since this time around, it was way easier for me to understand how the mechanism needed to be. As you can see here, I had it all figured out. So the entire pivot system came together so smoothly this time around. And honestly, this was the moment I started seeing that first chair less as a finished project and more as a prototype for this chair. At this point, I started working on the ironing board section itself. I'm basically screwing these boards together just because I'm making two identical pieces, since you might have seen earlier on. One thing I decided to add this time was ventilation holes through this plywood. At least in theory, they should allow the steam to pass through the board instead of getting trapped in the wood and making it swell. Hopefully this will help the top last a little bit longer over time. We'll see. There at the bandsaw, I refined the board to look a little bit more like a regular ironing board, and losing that rough boxy look that it had at the start. Then I used this countersink bit to clean up those holes I made so I wouldn't be feeling it when ironing. Then I hit it quickly with the sander, then we're ready to put upholstery. Though I know the container says creatine, trust me, it's varnish, not a gym supplement. This is actually a water-based varnish I'm trying out. Has any of you ever used it before? How does it hold up over time? I'd like to know. Before mounting everything back together, I also used this soldering iron to reopen the holes through the fabric. My thinking was burning the holes to open might help prevent the material from tearing over time compared to cutting it. At least that's my theory. Once everything was mounted back on the chair, it was finally time to deal with the slope. After checking the level height properly, I noticed there was roughly a 11 to 12 centimeter gap between the seat and the ironing board, which explains why the slope is so noticeable. So I made this quick attachment to close that gap and level everything out. And honestly, at first I thought I was done. I even took the chair inside the house, used it for about a week or so, and the more I lived with it, the more I noticed things didn't sit right with me. It's very good, comfy, but there's a few things that I don't really like at all. This thing that I just did recently, it's always protruding in the house. So whenever I'm walking, I'm like, boom, and I'm looking at this. So I really hate it. So as you saw a while back when I was measuring this, I wanted to put it somewhere here, but I hesitated because I wanted to have a good ironing height, like this. But I think I need to go a little bit lower to omit this nonsense. I really hate it. So in order for me to fix that, I was thinking the best thing to do is for this to go a little bit lower. Maybe I chop a section out that's this wide here, because this thing here is about 9 centimeters. Yeah, maybe if I just chop out 9 centimeters and then it will be the length of this thing. Okay, and then problem number 2. Let me show you why I added these things is this. When you're leaning back naturally, sometimes you slouch and this happens. That's why I added these clippies. Yeah, so then they prevent that thing. I don't want that also. So I think it's gonna solve 2 problems, this thing of going down. I finally committed to the fix properly, which meant doing something slightly terrifying, cutting the back legs off. I laid the chair on the bench and started butchering it, removing 9 centimeters off. At this point, there was no real turning back. I could have completely ruined the chair, but honestly speaking, that's how much the original attachment was bothering me. The scary part wasn't cutting, actually. It was wondering whether the chair was still going to be functional afterwards, once everything went back together. So now I had to figure out how to reconnect the entire structure cleanly. I ended up using dowels and glue to realign everything. Then I clamped the frame back together for a while to cure. After sanding everything back flush, I removed the original attachment completely and started repositioning the ironing board itself. This time I had to drill a new set of holes that are slightly lower than the original holes. The overall size of the chair stayed almost exactly the same, but now the ironing height set a little lower, which helped correct that seat backer balance issue that we had. Once the new holes were done, I reattached the ironing board and mounted the seat back. and I couldn't wait to test it immediately. I sat on it for a while, flipped it back into the ironing board mode a few times, and for the first time during the entire build, everything felt right. No awkward tilting of the back when sitting, the proportions of the chair looked cleaner, and the chair just worked exactly the way I originally imagined it to be. At this point, I still needed to add that small spacer to keep the seat aligned properly in the ironing board mode. The new geometry, the gap reduced down to 2 finger breadths widths instead of 12 centimeters, which visually made a massive difference. So I used the original attachment, resized it on the bandsaw, then glued on another small piece to get the final spacing exactly where I needed it to be. After screwing it back into place, the whole design finally started feeling balanced. What's funny is, after all these changes, my wife looked at the chair and asked, "So, what exactly did you change? Yeah, it looks exactly the same." To her it looks the same, but to me it's completely different. If you've enjoyed this build, I'd appreciate if you could like this video, and if you remember that folding table I did a while ago, this chair is actually inspired by a lot of the same ideas of space saving and functionality. So you could check out that one next, and as always, thanks for following along.